everybody. Today I'm going to review some foam interlocking floor tiles. Now this is going to be more of a generic review. We're not focusing only on one brand because no matter who you buy these from, they are going to have the same idea behind them. They're different tiles that are going to lock together to give you a uniform surface, and whether you have a very small shop or a very large shop, you can customize it to fit your needs. Prior to picking up the floor tiles, I was using some old anti-fatigue matting like you would find behind a cash register, and then an old welcome mat from in front of the front door. Now with the welcome mat, these are going to be solid rubber and offer no protection for you when you're walking across them, and they're not going to do anything to absorb any of that force. With the anti-fatigue matting, you can notice a big difference, but having enough of this to cover up the entire floor in a workshop is pretty impractical because it is very expensive. The tiles, however, are very affordable and they do come in multi-packs. Now the ones that I picked up actually had 8 tiles in one package. So let's say you lay this down and then accidentally damage one. It would be as simple as pulling out the damaged tile and replacing it with a new one. Where I started to initially install the floor tiles was over here in front of the toolboxes and workbenches. And with roughly one package we were able to cover the entire area, and you can see just how nice and tight those seams are. So let's say I pull the saw out or a sander and I get sawdust all over this, cleanup's going to be very easy, but as far as standing in one place or even walking around, I'm not directly on the concrete. This is going to prevent my feet from hurting and my back from hurting, and it's also going to provide additional protection if I happen to drop a tool. Customizing it is not going to be any issue because they do lock together. So coming out of that area, we extend down here in front of the workbench and then expand into the part where the table saw and the miter saw is. And we're going to have a uniform floor throughout. Installing a tile literally is as easy as setting it down, lining up the notches, and then just pressing those into place. Now it's not directional. All 4 sides are going to be exactly the same, and you don't have to line anything up in order to do this. Now that this tile's been installed, we can go ahead and finish up this side of the room. And in about 5 minutes, I was able to completely put down this side of the room. In fact, the entire wood shop, including removing everything out of the packaging and pulling up the old mats, it probably took about 30 minutes, and I put down 160 square feet of foam flooring. That was a total of 40 squares, and it used roughly 5 packages to get the job done. Now the good thing is, let's say I did ruin one of these by dropping something on it. I wouldn't have to pull the entire floor up. I can just go ahead and grab one tile, grab a hold of it, and it's going to pop right out of place. I can take a replacement tile at that point, go ahead and put it back down, and the floor will be good as new in a matter of a couple seconds. One of my big concerns with this floor is going to be cleanup, and especially because the tiles lock together, eventually very fine sawdust will make its way into that crack, and you're just not going to be able to get it out. But as far as overall cleanup goes, what you want to keep in mind with sanding or cutting wood is how easy it's going to be. So what I've done is pulled the dust bag off the 12-inch sliding Milwaukee compound miter saw, and it has extremely fine dust in here. I'm going to dump it out all over the tiles, and then just using a standard broom, I'm going to sweep it up. So taking a closer look at the floor, just quickly sweeping over it with a standard house broom, you can see a little bit of dust in the crack, but as far as overall cleanup, it does sweep off very easily. When you have the tiles at least 2 wide and 2 deep, the seam does stay very nice and tight. However, this transition piece, it does seem like it's pulling apart a little bit. Now that can be from a simple shift of either one of the sides. It is going to pull on that seam and it is going to be more noticeable as far as separation goes. So I'll go ahead and move this part of the mat, which is in front of the toolboxes, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So to show you exactly what I mean, this larger mat, which is going to be 3 tiles wide and then 3 tiles deep, meets the one tile transition where it goes in front of the other workbench. And it really doesn't have a lot holding it in place. So if I do move it around, you can see it would pull on that seam, opening it up and allowing dirt to enter. And really, if you pull on it really hard, I guess it could pop completely out of there. To have the best connection, you would want your tiles to be at least 2 deep and 2 wide, and it's going to make the seam nice and tight. As you install the flooring, you do want to keep in mind you may have to modify a tile or the border to get it to fit. Now in this case, we'll take just a standard razor blade, line it up with our mark, and just pull it right through. That's going to cut it right in half, and because it is low density foam, using a razor blade or even a pair of scissors is going to get the job done for you. All of the tiles that I had included a border at no additional charge, meaning a corner border or even one of the side pieces. And this is removable. All of the tiles are going to be exactly the same size, so if you have a very large room like I do, you can lock those together. And then you'll have a bunch of extra borders at the end that you can just throw away. But you definitely want to have a border around the outside edge, and it will prevent you from tripping over that jagged border. It's going to lock right in exactly the same way as the tile does. It's going to give you a smooth edge and a much cleaner look. So now you've seen foam interlocking floor tiles for yourself. And really this video should cover pretty much any brand and style. But the ones that I got were 2 feet wide by 2 feet wide. They included the border and they came in a pack of 8. I bought them at the local Costco today, but I have a feeling they're going to sell out or change brands because that's typically what they do in a very short period of time. You can pick up the same style at Lowe's or Home Depot or even online, and you can outfit your workshop exactly the same way. Now, in my opinion, this would not be a good idea to put in a garage, especially if your car does leak any fluids, because I'm not sure how this foam would hold up, and at bare minimum, I think it would get very slippery. But if you are in a workshop like this, and you don't like standing on concrete, this would be a very cheap and effective way to go. If you like this video, please click like. If you like my channel, please click subscribe. And thanks for watching.